The tale begins with a vehicle called Herbie. Herbie is no ordinary vehicle. He was once Music, the top racing vehicle on the circuit. For a long time, he always won every competition. He went to various locations with his owner and experienced many thrilling adventures. Music, however, a day arrived when everything was different. Herbie was involved in a bad crash. Following that, he was forever changed. He began to lose competitions repeatedly. Over time, people lost faith in him, and eventually, he was taken to a junkyard. Upon Herbie's arrival, he encounters Music, Dave, who owns the junkyard. From the outset, they dislike each other intensely. The lorry driver even cautions Dave. He warns him against bothering Herbie since the vehicle is quite sensitive. As Dave attempts to remove Herbie from the trailer, Herbie sprays oil all over his footwear. He obviously isn't prepared to surrender without a fight. Dave and the driver begin to push the car as Herbie attempts to hold back. Initially, he won't budge, but then he spots a potential exit. Music, so he makes the choice to leave by himself. Right when it seems he could escape, he stumbles into a snare. Music, his tires were flattened, and now he's stuck. Having no other option, Herbie surrenders. Music, he sits there with other old vehicles, anticipating the day he will be destroyed. Several weeks later, in a different section of the city, we are introduced to a young woman named Maggie Peyton. She gets to her graduation, not by car, but on her skateboard. Music, she is finishing her journalism degree, and following the graduation, she celebrates with her dad, Ray. Ray is quite proud of her. Maggie is the first individual in her family to earn a college degree. Maggie's mother died when she was a little girl, but Ray assures her that if she was still here, she would also be very proud of her. Right at that moment, Maggie's closest Music, pal Charisma, arrives driving a brand new vehicle. It's a present for her graduation from her mother and father. Maggie and Charisma are thrilled because in a month they will be moving to New York together, Music, and beginning their new life. At the same time, Ray, a racing coach, brings Maggie to the racetrack to see her brother, Ray Music, Jr. Upon their arrival, they encounter Sally, who is one of the sponsors for their racing team. Before long, the competition starts, but as usual, Ray Jr. loses command while making a turn and wrecked. It's Music, obvious he's putting in effort, but he simply lacks the skill for racing. He is getting ready for a major NASCAR Music race in a couple of weeks, but truthfully, things aren't going well for him. Later that evening, at her house, Maggie is sitting silently and gazing at the photographs on the wall. A single picture, a musical one, grabs her eye. It's her grandfather. He was among the best racers ever, and Maggie's main inspiration. Music, as a child, Maggie too wished to be a racer, just like her father. However, things took a turn, Music, following a dreadful mishap. She wrecked on the course and needed to remain in the hospital for 2 full months. Following that day, her dad firmly instructed her to stop racing. Before turning in for the night, Ray tells Maggie that the following morning he will at last purchase her a graduation present, as he had pledged. The following day, Music, they visit a junkyard for Maggie to select her vehicle. At the same time, Herbie observes all that is happening. He notices Maggie admiring a different vintage race car, and immediately he makes up his mind that he wants to leave with her. Herbie attempts to get nearer, but he is unable. Music, his back tires are gone, so he's totally stuck. Right at that moment, the situation deteriorates. Music, the crew begins pulling him directly towards the crushing machine. Herbie blares his horn, attempting to catch Maggie's eye, but she is preoccupied with a Nissan directly ahead of him. She is on the verge of finalizing the agreement with Dave. Then, all at once, Herbie escapes the crane at the very last moment and lands directly on the Music Nissan. At this point, the Nissan is destroyed. Having no other choice, Maggie chooses to use the Beetle instead. And just like that, Herbie at last Music discovers a new place to live. Afterward, Ray mends some minor issues in the car and instructs Maggie to take it to the garage so Kevin can inspect it thoroughly. Music, as Maggie gets into the car, an unusual event occurs. The compartment for gloves unexpectedly pops open by itself. Inside, she discovers a note from Herbie's previous owner requesting that whoever receives the car look after him well. Maggie feels a bit emotional but before she can dwell on it, she turns the key and the car unexpectedly drives forward by itself. Maggie becomes frightened because she isn't even the one driving. Herbie drives her directly to the garage and nearly hits Kevin en route. Kevin is surprised when he spots Maggie. A considerable period has passed since their previous encounter. When they were in high school, Kevin really liked her, and it seems those feelings music haven't gone away. Following a brief conversation, Kevin volunteers to repair the Beetle, but initially, music wishes to take it for a test run. So they drive the car around the city. However, all at once, Herbie begins letting out a massive puff music of smoke in every direction. It's really awkward. Maggie feels embarrassed and begins to think that perhaps getting this old car was a mistake. She even considers giving it back, but Herbie plainly doesn't want her to. Suddenly, the vehicle elevates and begins moving forward on only 2 tires. Now Maggie completely goes wild. Music, she doesn't know what's going on, and before she can react, they smash into a display of sports cars. Inside, Maggie encounters some former school friends, and then a well-known celebrity makes an appearance. Trip, the reigning racing champion. The people quickly gather around him, wanting autographs and cheering music for him. However, at that precise instant, Herbie begins to blare his horn repeatedly. Maggie swiftly lifts the hood to halt him, but the vehicle instead squirts oil across her top. Music, so she has to put on different clothes. Fortunately, Kevin discovers a racing outfit and head protection in the car's boot. Music, after preparing, Maggie settles back into the vehicle, but once more, something unusual music occurs. Herbie shoves her head into the helmet as if making her put it on. Music, Trip then spots the Beetle and begins to tease them. He chuckles and instructs Maggie to return that vehicle to the carnival. Music, Herbie gets mad about this, so he scrapes Trip's music fancy car with his side mirror. Now the situation becomes critical. The people get hyped and propose a competition to Music decided. Trip readily agrees. Maggie attempts to exit the vehicle to say sorry, but Music, Herbie secures all the doors and windows. Before she realizes it, the vehicle goes directly onto the racecourse. Trip comes along, prepared to compete. Music, crash signals, Herbie's gears align, and the race starts. Maggie attempts to steer the car, but Herbie refuses to let her take control. Despite the Beetle being old and rundown, it still manages to stay alongside Trip's powerful car. However, Trip doesn't follow the rules. He begins to drive recklessly, attempting to force them off the road. However, on this occasion, Music, something is different. Maggie's competitive nature emerges. She makes up her mind that she won't give in. She joins forces with Herbie and commits completely to winning. And at last, Herbie allows her to drive. At this point, they are collaborating. They accelerate and begin to overtake Trip. Trip attempts to collide with them again. However, Herbie astonishes him with some wild maneuvers. The journey was surprising. This was completely unexpected for him. As they approach the end of the race, Herbie performs an incredible feat. He gets on top of the safety music barrier, goes fast, and wins the race right at the end. Following the race, Herbie is utterly worn out, and Trip Music, he simply cannot grasp what occurred. He was just defeated by a novice in an old car. Later in the garage, Maggie informs Kevin of something unusual. Music, she mentions feeling as though she didn't truly triumph in the competition. It turned out to be Herbie. However, Kevin doesn't treat it with importance. He simply grins and compliments her, stating she possesses genuine skill. After all, she just beat a future champion in a 1963 Beetle. The following morning, Maggie observes her dad having a disagreement with her sibling. She learns that their racing group has lost an additional backer music since they continue to do poorly. Just then, Sally pulls up in her yellow Beetle, and immediately Herbie is smitten with her. Sally presents a video and plays it for Rye. It displays the street competition from the previous evening. Music, Rye is surprised when the car Maggie got from the junkyard actually won a competition. However, rather than being pleased, Music, he becomes upset because Maggie competed once more. He had explicitly instructed her to avoid racing. To soothe him, Maggie tells a quick untruth, She states she wasn't operating the vehicle. It was a person called Max. Music, and from that point on, she determines that Max is going to be her racing name. As Maggie silently celebrates her victory, Trip Music is seething with rage. He is unable to accept his loss. His buddy Larry attempts to soothe him, explaining it was merely a street music competition and nobody minds. However, Trip's pride is wounded. He desires vengeance, so he instructs his crew to arrange a major 2-day race, music confident that Max will appear. Afterward, Maggie returns to Kevin's store. Kevin presents his new plan to completely transform Herbie into a proper race car, music, but Maggie is feeling bad. She informs Kevin that she is unable to compete in races any longer. Following her accident, she made a promise to her father, and she's already feeling guilty about deceiving him. As they converse, Herbie spots a newspaper containing a music advertisement for a competition. The reward is $10,000. As Maggie gets into the car, Herbie shivers his front and causes the newspaper to cling to the front window. Maggie notices the prize money and begins to ponder. This cash might allow her to relocate to New York and begin her new existence. Kevin then proposes something to her. If she accepts the race, he promises to repair Herbie without charge, and if she is victorious, they will split the winning. Maggie feels afraid, yet she also understands this could be her sole opportunity. So she agrees, and with that, the adventure starts. Maggie and Kevin begin to labor diligently on Herbie. They wash him, repair his components, and gradually transform him into a real racing vehicle. Meanwhile, Music Maggie resumes her training. And with all the effort, Herbie appears better than he ever has. He even obtains a sunroof, music, which makes him appear more stylish than before. At the same time, elsewhere, Trip and Crash Music are becoming inquisitive. They are curious about what makes this ancient Beetle so unique. Trip is set on discovering the secret concealed beneath Herbie's hood. Later that evening, Maggie listens in on Rye and Sally talking, and their discussion deeply disturbs her. Her dad is on the verge of losing his final backer's music because her sibling consistently loses competition. This affects Maggie deeply. She now experiences even greater stress. She makes up her mind that she absolutely must win the upcoming race. At last, the important race day is here. Trip is taken aback music when he encounters Herbie once more, now completely enhanced, even featuring a turbocharger. He becomes interested music and questions Maggie about how she encountered this enigmatic map. However, before anything else happens, Kevin shows up right on cue. Many vehicles drive onto the racecourse, but just one will be victorious. Music, the winner of today's competition, will go against Trip in the championship race tomorrow. And if they are victorious in that, they will receive $10,000. Music, just as anticipated, Maggie and Herbie do a fantastic job. They defeated every other competitor and advanced to the championship race. Later, Trip reviews the race video closely music, and then he spots something. A little bit of red hair peeking out from beneath Max's helmet. At that moment, he music understands what's really happening. Max is really Maggie. Later that evening, Herbie sees the yellow beetle once more and heads in its direction. Upon witnessing this, Maggie at last reveals what really happened. She informs Kevin that Herbie is no ordinary vehicle. He thinks for himself, and now she music agrees with it. Kevin grins and presents Maggie with a necklace meant as a token of good fortune. The situation then becomes a bit heartfelt. They music are about to kiss, but then Trip arrives and breaks their moment with his car lights. He tells Kevin to go away because he wants to speak with Maggie privately. Once Kevin departs, Trip begins to speak earnestly. He questions Maggie about why she isn't competing as herself, given that racing is obviously a part of her nature. He then shares an unexpected piece of information. He explains that he started racing because he looked up to Maggie's grandfather. In the end, he presents her with a significant proposal. He gives her the keys to his personal race car music and inquires if she'd like to experience driving a genuine machine. Maggie says yes and takes a drive. At the same time, Herbie observes all of this and becomes envious. Meanwhile, Trip attempts to examine Herbie, but Herbie shows no fear whatsoever. He squirts gasoline directly into Trip's face and then shoves his hood down onto his head. Trip becomes very angry.